Hi guys, today I want to talk about toxic positivity, what it is, and how we can really stop operating from that place. If you're new to toxic positivity and you've never heard this phrase, let me break it down. Simply put, toxic positivity is this concept or this belief that no matter how dim or dire your circumstances are, that you should always maintain an upbeat or a positive attitude. Unfortunately, that's not realistic. I firmly believe that society sent us this message, and we've all been conditioned to believe that we have to be positive no matter what. Think about it. If you run into someone that you haven't seen for some time and you're like, hey girl, how are you? I haven't seen you. How have you been? They immediately respond good. And the same thing vice versa. If someone runs into you and they ask you how you're doing, no matter what just happened 5 minutes before that, you always respond good. We feel guilty or we feel shame, like we don't want to put the truth or our weight or our emotions onto someone else. And so quickly we respond good, when in reality, sometimes we're not actually good. This is a pure example of toxic positivity and how we've been conditioned to operate as such. Some phrases you may hear as it relates to toxic positivity is like, things could always be worse. Look on the bright side. Everything will be okay. And this may come from a well-meaning family member or friend, or this may come from someone sharing a meme with you on social media. We've all seen it. And the reason that this is coined as toxic positivity is because when someone is shooting you this phrase, let's say you're dealing with a difficult situation or difficult emotions, and someone responds, look on the bright side. Things will be okay. Things will look up. All will be well. You know the statements. When they respond that way, then in turn you begin to feel shame or guilt about those emotions, which you now adopt a brand new emotion on top of the ones you're already dealing with. And this is called secondary emotions. So not only are you dealing with sadness or with anger or with overwhelm or hurt, now you have this shame and this guilt or embarrassment around the different emotions that you're feeling. And now when you have these secondary emotions, you can't really address the initial emotion that even stirred you to this point. Like I mentioned earlier, we have to learn that it's okay not being okay. But more importantly, we have to learn to be able to tune into our emotions and to be able to process them in a healthy way. Think about it. In nature, if you look at water, water moves down a stream for a reason, because even still water becomes stale and toxic. Just imagine the negative emotions and energy you're carrying in your body, what that turns into as well. This is why it's so important that we don't just adopt some toxic positivity approach and stamp it on every situation or every circumstance. We have to really get to the root of it. And that's what I'm getting ready to share with you now. I'm going to share the steps that you need to take when you're dishing out toxic positivity, like when you're tempted to, or if someone is kind of giving it to you. The first step when someone is giving out a phrase or a statement to you that would fall under the toxic positivity umbrella is to, one, give them grace. The truth is, like I mentioned, we're all conditioned to operate from that place because sometimes we don't know any better. As a counselor, when I did grief work, I did not always know the right thing to say. Maybe someone lost their dog, and if I didn't have a dog, maybe I couldn't relate to that exact situation. So understanding that there are going to be times and circumstances and situations where people don't always know the right thing to say. And so when they say something like, look on the bright side, or things can be better, 9 times out of 10, it's coming from a place of love. And they really do want to help, even if they don't know how to do it in an appropriate manner. The second step is to give yourself permission to not be okay. But once you recognize that you're not okay, do something to support yourself with it. There was a brain imaging study done at UCLA, which really discussed the importance of being able to turn your thoughts into words. Because when you turn your thoughts into words, whether you write them or whether you speak them, you're actually reducing the intensity of those heavy emotions that you're carrying. So consider what emotions you're dealing with. Acknowledge that it's okay not to be okay, and give yourself space to fully process them. Finally, the third step, if someone is dishing out toxic positivity statements to you, is to take care of yourself, all right? Now, I don't mean paint your nails and get a bath. I mean, do the deep healing, the inner work, because that's where lasting transformation and healing can actually take place. So this requires like meditation. This may require getting support of a coach or a counselor to help you to be able to dig deep. You can't do things on a surface level and then think that you'll be okay on the inside, right? The truth is you can never outperform who you subconsciously believe yourself to be. And so if you want to be a healed and a whole version of yourself, you got to heal those internal parts of yourself that are being triggered, that are being hurt, that are being wounded continuously. And when you do that, you'll notice an outward difference as well. Now, let's talk about when you have someone that you care about that's going through something and you don't have the right thing to say, and you're tempted to stamp a statement that falls under the toxic positivity umbrella and what you should do about it. The first step is to remember this video. Provide yourself grace. We all fall victim to toxic positivity at one point or another. So provide yourself grace by saying that it's okay if you don't know the right thing to say. That's totally okay. We don't have to fill every moment with talking or with an answer. Sometimes just being available and holding space is enough. In fact, holding space can sometimes be more than enough. You'd rather be able to hold space than say something that sounds inconsistent or insensitive as well. And then the second step is to validate who it is that you love. This is so important. Okay. The reason that this is important is because we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And I know we all hear this phrase, but it's so important. I can't tell you how much people just want to be heard. They just want to be listened to, and they just want to know that someone's holding space for them. And so to be able to create that is not only a blessing for you, but it's a blessing for them as well. The truth is, toxic positivity is non-intentional and sometimes so subtle that we don't even recognize it. But the good news is, the more you tune into it, the more you understand it, the more you're able to recognize and shift it accordingly. So what I challenge you to do is I challenge you to give yourself, as well as other people, permission to feel. This entire process will change your life and open your eyes in ways that you can never imagine. It's such a blessing to not only you, but to them as well.